keep the Sabbath day holy. Honor your father and your mother. You shall not murder. You shall not commit adultery.
I think times have changed. I mean, the example I use is same-sex marriage.
This guy is now asking the next logical question there. Well, the Bible says that homosexuality is disordered and we seem to be okay with that, so why can't I have 4 girlfriends and a wife? What's up, guys? Welcome back to Red Top Report. I'm your host, Joe Enders, and I hear that there is this weird Playboy Hugh Hefner type dude in Australia that goes by the name of Candyman. He's like a tobacco executive or something, and like somebody's like rebuking him for his like sinful lifestyle.
Yeah, man. So there's this Candyman guy, and he's pretty, eccentric, exotic kind of guy, and he has a wife, and he seems to have 4 girlfriends as well. Oh. So this journalist interviewed him, and she just, she starts listing the 10 Commandments, and I'll let you see what happens next.
I thought I'd shed some light and read the 10 Commandments.
Really?
Yeah, and I paused when it came to thou shalt not commit adultery and asked him.
You like brought a copy and you read it?
Oh, I have my Bible on my cell phone.
I just have to read a little bit of the Bible's rules.
Sure.
And it goes, keep the Sabbath day holy. Honor your father and your mother. You shall not murder. You shall not commit adultery.
I think times have changed. I mean, the example I use is same-sex marriage. I mean, if you want to compare the Bible to same-sex marriage, I think society is turning. They're comparing me to Hugh Hefner today, but, what Hugh did 50 plus years ago is completely different because society has changed.
Oh. This is like this is actually like the perfect response. I actually have a lot to say to this. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, this is exactly the problem with the sexual revolution, Ronan. This guy is literally saying, well, times have changed. I mean, look, we have gay marriage. Look, we have all these other things. Why can't I have 4 girlfriends and a wife at the same time? And this is actually a really funny thing because, a lot of the LGBT movement used to like rip on that sort of stuff. They'd be like, no, we don't believe in polygamy or anything like that. It's just like 2 people love each other. Why can't they be together? Well, this guy's now asking the next logical question there. Well, the Bible says that homosexuality is disordered and we seem to be okay with that. So why can't I have 4 girlfriends and a wife? Well, the answer is quite simple. Homosexuality is wrong. And so is, it's not polygamy because they're not married, but so is you having, all these side chicks when you have a wife at home. Do they have kids together? Do you know?
I don't. I can put it in post.
So the story gets even worse. Travers Beynon, known as the Candyman, married and divorced a former Miss World winner. The Candyman has 2 children with his ex-wife and another 2 with his current wife. Let's just say, not the best role model.
I noticed that all the women too look kind of similar. Like, I think he's got like a type or something. It's really weird, but he's like this dark-haired, olive-skinned woman. They're all the exact same woman. So it's like, dude, like, why are you? He's just doing it to do it. It seems like to me because he thinks he can do it. And what he's doing is he's abusing the sexual worth of his wife. What he's doing is and especially if those women were virgins. I talk about this a lot, but you're not just committing adultery as a married man if you were to take another woman's virginity. You've actually stolen something from her by doing so. Anybody that takes a woman's virginity or takes somebody's virginity actually in general has stolen something because that actually belongs to the wife. The body belongs to the wife of the spouse, or your body as a man belongs to your wife once you're married. So the virginity also is supposed to belong to her. And if somebody's lost it beforehand, that is an act of theft, which actually also goes against the 7th commandment. And yes, I know the Protestant ones will say it's a different number. We're going with the Catholic ones because it's a Catholic show. So 7th commandment, thou shalt not steal. And then obviously the 6th commandment is thou shalt not commit adultery. Now, why can't you commit adultery? Because what you're doing is you're taking away your wife's human dignity. First of all, you're not treating her as a person. You're not meeting your vows. You're not being faithful to her. You're not showing her that you show her the exclusive love that it deserves. It would be like God, having many churches or something like that. It doesn't make any sense. God's bride is the Catholic Church. That is who he is. That's who Christ died for. That's who Christ's love for us is different than all other creation, just like our love for our wives is different than our love for all of creation. And a man actually stands in his household as the pastor of that household with his wife below him and the children below the wife in a very hierarchical structure, much like you have, you have God, and then you have the hierarchy of angels, and you have obviously the hierarchy of saints that are, able to contain different levels of grace in heaven and be more clear in their beholding of God and the beatific vision when they're in heaven, all those sorts of things. So this guy is completely rejecting the entire foundational point of the domestic church, which is he is the pastor over his wife and he's the pastor over his children. And what he's doing is he's bringing in other women. He's abusing them. He's treating them as sexual objects, masturbation tools for him to have an orgasm or some kind of sexual thrill that he's looking for. And at the end of the day, that's extremely selfish because you entrusted yourself to the woman that you married. You entrusted yourself and your body to that person. And this is something that a lot of Catholics don't like to talk about, but there's this thing called the marital debt. And the marital debt is the idea that each spouse has ownership over the other's body. And that ownership over the body means that it's their property too. It's their property too. They are responsible for taking care of it because once you are married, you do become one flesh. That's the whole point of the sexual act. That's the entire idea. So you're responsible for taking care of each other's bodies. You're responsible for meeting the sexual needs of each other's bodies. And because of that, when you're cheated on or something like that, when you're committing adultery like this person is, it has nothing to do with consent. You're committing adultery whether you consent to it or not. And what you do is you separate that partnership. You try to become flesh with other people. You try to become one flesh with other people when you're already unified in one flesh with that person. And you're taking away the property that rightfully belongs to another person. And that property cannot be gifted to another person because that vow was made before God. I don't know. You got anything else to add to that, Ronan?
I think you summed it up pretty well.
I think I did. Well, guys, that's all we got for this episode of Red Top Report. By the way, guys, you got to follow us on X. You got to follow us on Instagram. And you need to subscribe to the channel. Subscribe and hit that notification bell so you always know when we are dropping new content. And guys, don't spend your money on people that you want to commit adultery with. You need to give us your money.
You're worth a lot of money, correct?
It depends how you look at it.
And you can give us your money by going to buymeacoffee.com. That is buymeacoffee.com. You can give us a single donation, or you could do a monthly Joe for Joe donation for only $5 a month. With that said, guys, that's all we got for this episode. Be sure to check out some of our other content as well. We've done several videos on marriage specifically, so you can put one of those up, Ronan, and check it out. Thanks. Have a good one, guys. God bless.